Morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Thursday, the 18th day of January 2024. I hope you're safe and healthy today. I hope your family's safe and healthy, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, who, along with the first responders, every day are saving lives. And those that pick up garbage for us to keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the unfortunate victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People who are also victims of prostitution and child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, perverts, and profiteers of these things. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. Nearly 600,000 men, women, and children homeless in the United States of America. Increasingly, people over 65. And millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game last night at Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks defeated the Houston Rockets 109-94, and they look like the New York Knicks. Actually, we're going to go over the halfway point in a second, but the New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson, I was surprised to see Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart out there last night. I thought both of them would sit, being that they got another one tonight. But what the New York Knicks announced was that Tom Thibodeau said Brunson is fully healthy and ready to go. And he looked like it last night. Yes, he did. He looked like it last night. So with New York, it was not only that, they held the Rockets under 100 points. And you know what? Nowadays in the NBA, that's pretty big. They held the Rockets under 100 points. Of course, because Hartenstein was able to stay on the floor, they out-rebounded the Rockets. They had 51-38, and on the offensive glass, 12-6. That's New York Knicks basketball. Hold them under 100 points, out-rebounding them. Turnovers last night for the Knicks was 12, a little slightly high, but not crazy bad. And so, it was a good run. Now, last night, Tom went actually with 8 players. He had Grimes, Deuce, and Hart playing. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see more of that. Grimes, Deuce, and Hart. You had Achua for 6 minutes. He had 3 fouls, though, so maybe that had something to do with it. But Grimes got 17 minutes. DiVincenzo, because these two are sharing that 2-guard spot. So DiVincenzo got 19 minutes, and Grimes had 17. Last night, Grimes scored 11. He was 2 of 6 from the 3-point line. He was 5 of 5 from the line. We talked about shooting better from the foul line as a team, and they did that. They shot 82% as a team last night. They would have won, I don't know how many more games this year if this was a consistent thing. But the good news is, I think it's going to be going forward. Brunson was Brunson, the maestro. Basically, he has the ball in his hands most of the time, and he should. And everybody operates around him. He is the centerpiece. He is the brain by which everything else operates, and the rest of the Knicks are the body. And so he was 11 of 21, 4 of 9 from 3. He was 4 of 7 from the free throw line, which is a problem for now, but I think he'll figure it out. Brunson's a way better free throw shooter than that. Brunson's a 90. He should be in the 90% three-point, high 80s at least, free throw shooter. So right now, he just, he was a little off there. But Anunoby, what I loved last night, and I'm a little weird because I favor the defensive side of the ball. I get more excited seeing beautiful defense than I do seeing beautiful offense in the basketball floor, especially with the pro game. And Anunoby, what happened last night, Houston was trying to switch off. See, in times past, in years past, before Tom Thibodeau, the opposite team, which even with Tom Thibodeau, when you had a Kemba Walker, for example, the opposite team would switch till you get somebody on Kemba that they wanted. Then they would go at him. So last night, Sengun was the guy. They started off with Hartenstein on him. And Hartenstein did a great job on him. But then they kept switching to get Hartenstein off him. And they would switch right into Obi. And I was like, y'all in real trouble now. And Obi was doing defensive work. So it was really good to see. DiVincenzo finally showed up on the defensive end of the floor. And so DiVincenzo and Grimes, 17 and 19 minutes. DiVincenzo only scored 5, but he played great defense. He was the glue guy. That's that position. And then, of course, Grimes comes off the bench with 11 points. I was really surprised. I've seen players get jumpers knee before, and generally they miss games with jumpers knee. They could miss multiple games with jumpers knee, and that's what he had. But homie come off the bench and score, and he only scored 10, which is good, but he had 14 boards. See, all of you talking about he's only 6'4", you need to wake up. This cat is the best 6'4" rebounder in the league, and he had 5 offensive rebounds. Okay, that's where he comes in. This is where defense and rebounding is where Hart comes in. And I don't know how he does it. Well, let me say this. Really and truly, people get deceived into thinking rebounds are a function of, like somebody said, well, Jericho Sims should get more rebounds. He could jump so high. That's not how you rebound. How high you jump helps, but really, if you're going to go by natural ability, length is more important than how high you jump. But really, rebounds are a function of technique, finding a body and getting a good seal on, okay? And then following the flight of the ball and being where the ball lands. That's Hart. That's Josh Hart, okay? And that's how he gets his rebounds. And see, that's how rebounds are gotten in the league. There's a lot of guys that can jump high, can't get a lot of rebounds because they don't follow the flight of the ball. Like, it's a talent now. It's a gift. Dennis Rodman had it. You never seen Dennis Rodman jump 48 inches. Yet at least 7 times he led the NBA in rebounding. Okay? He had good length, but he was positioned. He followed the flight of the ball. He knew where it was coming off, like Bill Russell. All the great rebounders do that. They know where the ball, they have an instinct to know where it's bouncing off the rim. Not just based on following the flight, but knowing the shooters, knowing where the tendencies are. That's DiVincenzo. Not DiVincenzo. That's Josh Hart. Does it tremendously. So last night, those 3, McBride, Hart, Grimes. McBride was out of sync. And I totally get it. Here he's trying to get ready to be a starter. And he finally figured that out. If he was to start last night, I felt like he would have gone off. But then last night he reduces back to 11 minutes after playing 38 minutes. And this is what I'm saying. We need to have some consistency. I think, again, Deuce needs 15 to 20 minutes to get the maximum out of him. He was trying to force it a little bit, though. Trying to force it into the lane, driving, and he got stripped a couple times. So it was not a great game offensively for Deuce. But, of course, it was a great game with him, Hart, and Grimes defensively. And that's what I mean. So, yeah, they're going to continue to do that. And so it was a good win for the Knicks. Now, let's talk about the halfway point. Right now, as it stands, the Knicks are 24-17. So that would be, if it was equal, if each side of the season is equal, that would be a 48-win season for the Knicks. That'd be a 48-win season for the New York Knicks. And I predicted 50, and I still stick with 50 because now that we got a nice flow, we got OG, we got a nice flow of Hartenstein, and Mitch Rob probably gonna come back toward the end of the season. I like the 50 number for the Knicks. But right now, they're on pace for 48 wins. So all of them people that was talking about play-in, maybe they'll win 41 games for the season. We can see that's full of crap, right? Because right now, they come through the roughest part of their schedule, and they're on 48 win pace. Thank you, Tom Thibodeau. Thank you, New York Knicks. Thank you, Leon Rose. Congratulations to you on the job you have did. Right now, the Knicks, in terms of opponents' points per game, are tied for second in the East with Miami, defensively, at the halfway point. Overall, in the league, they're tied for third in the league in opponents' points per game. In differential, the Knicks are 8th in the league, and they are 3rd in the East with a differential of 4.1. Okay? This is at the halfway point. All right? 3rd in the East, 8th in the league. Okay? So this is going pretty well. Somebody talked about the Knicks are stockpiling losses. About lost my soup on that. How you going to talk about stockpiling losses when they won 24 games? Every loss is the end of the world for some people. But this is the league. People win and people lose. Okay, it's the league. There's 82 games. And there's half a season left. As we thought, Orlando is starting to fade a little bit. Not because they're a bad team now. They're a young team. And I didn't think it was going to be sustainable when they start getting to the second half of their season. See, right now they play 23 games on the road. I still think they're going to compete for the top 7. Right now, the Knicks are tied with, let me see, the Knicks are tied for the 5th seed with Miami right now. And they're both, Miami and the Knicks, 1 game behind Cleveland, who's really hot right now. And Indiana is in the 6th seed, really the 7th seed, and they're a half game behind the Knicks in Miami, very tight. Orlando is 2 full games behind right now. And Orlando is 3-7 in their last 10. Miami is 5-5 in their last 10, but the 3 hot teams really, Cleveland is 8-2 in their last 10 and won 6 straight. The Knicks are 7-3 in their last 10. And Indiana is 7-3 in their last 10. So we know Indiana made a huge trade yesterday. They picked up Pascal Siakam. Okay, they gave up 3 number ones. I think it was 2 in 2024 and 1 in 2026. They gave up 3 number ones. They gave up Bruce Brown. He was a nice defender, nice defensive player, but they got Pascal Siakam. So Indiana made a very intelligent move yesterday, because if you look at their roster, okay, so they got to pay Pascal. They didn't trade for him not to re-sign him. So they're going to re-sign him. But I don't think they're going to re-sign him for 5 years. He's 30 years old, or he's going to be 30. I think they re-sign him for 3 years guaranteed and give him a 4th-year team option. I think that's what will happen. But it'll be big money, like a Fred VanVleet move, where he's getting $30 million plus for 3 years. They got already signed Tyrese Halliburton. They got on the rookie deal Benedict Mathurin. They got a nice young player in Jarice Walker. I don't know if y'all know him, but he was all right in college. I didn't think he was going to be. He's better than I thought he was. Jarice Walker's a forward. He can play both sides, both forward spots. Young player. So now you got Pascal. Miles Turner is signed through next season. So you got Pascal you're going to sign. You got Miles Turner. You got Obi. Obi's going to be re-signed. Obi's money, I'm going to tell you, he's going to get a contract similar to Josh Hart and similar to Dante DiVincenzo. He's going to get a contract in that $48 million range. So that's not going to be nothing for Indiana. So they're going to re-sign Obi. They're going to re-sign Pascal. They got a bunch of people that's on the border. Buddy Hield they can keep. I think Jalen Smith's going to be available this summer. A nice backup power forward. For those of you pining for a backup power forward, Jalen Smith is a nice one out of Maryland. And he's going to be available because they're going to have Obi. They're going to have Pascal Siakam. Jalen Smith is going to be the odd man out there. So, and he's pretty good. So he's going to be looking for a payday, and he's going to be looking for minutes. Backup power forward minutes. I don't see him starting anywhere, but backup power forward minutes. So they're in a good position to compete now. They kind of went all in, but at the same time, if it doesn't work out, they got building blocks in 23-year-old Halliburton. I think Halliburton's 23. I don't think he's over 23. Let me see. Halliburton's 23. Yeah, and he's going to be 24 at the end of February. So you got 24-year-old, call it 24-year-old Halliburton. You got 25-year-old Obi. He'll probably be 26 this year. You got still Jarice Walker. You got Benedict Mathurin. You can rebuild on the fly with those 4 guys if you need to. Meantime, you got Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, Aaron Nesmith, okay, another guy that turned into a pretty nice player. You can compete right now. So they're in a really good position. They gave up 3 number ones, but what they did was real smart. Now, some of y'all are going to come out and yell because you're always looking on the other side of the grass and think the Knicks need to keep up with the Joneses when you don't realize the Knicks are the Joneses. So let's look at it this way. This summer, see, right now, the Knicks are in good position to compete right now. Okay? Right now. This summer is when you reevaluate. You evaluate what happened this past season and you make moves. So before the draft, the Knicks are going to evaluate where they are and what they need going forward. So all of you talking about we need this and that, don't know what the hell you're talking about. You need to wait until the end of the season. And let's see where they end up. Let's see what they did, whether they get knocked out in the first round, they go to the second round, they go to the ECF. You need to wait and see what happens, good or bad. And then in June, before the draft, evaluate what you need. The Knicks do not need rookies. So I'm not saying the draft for us to go get any rookie. They don't need no rookies right now. They need to see what draft picks are out there that some other team might want that they can trade and get an established player if they feel they need one. Okay, that's where we're at. See, so right now, there's nothing that needs to be done. Not now. They need to wait. They don't need no bench scoring. They don't need no power forward backup. They good right now. Let's just see what happens at the end of May and going into June. Once the champion is crowned, once the next season is over, then we'll know, evaluate where we're at and see, okay, where do we need to make moves? The big moves, the Knicks don't need to make lateral moves. Some of y'all keep mentioning these lateral players that don't move the needle. The Knicks are in a position right now where the next move they need to make, it needs to be a blockbuster of a star that's going to move the needle. There's not anybody available right now like that. But we got to see what happens this summer. We don't know who's going to come available, who's going to be upset with their team and want out, who's going to want to win that chip before they leave their prime. There's going to be that one or two players that are going to be like that. We need to wait and see. Because right now the Knicks are in a position where we can trade away some talent if we're going to get a superstar. You don't want to do it mid-season. That's what's driving me crazy with y'all. Y'all are like, I don't know. Because every year, this was like somebody was telling me about a certain writer and they were making, rumors about Grimes. And I just said BS. These guys do this every year, yo. Y'all just don't realize it. If you went back 5 years in a row, you'd find the same guys writing the same crap every trade deadline. Okay? Stop buying into it. They know that New York Knicks Nation going to buy into it. That's why they write. That's how they make their money. Not off me, though. So I know the Knicks need to wait until the end of the season and then evaluate what you have. Because right now, we're in very good condition. I'm telling you, 48 wins is nice. Very nice right now. And I think they're going to end up getting into that 50 side that you got. Now you got your leader, Jalen Brunson. You got sidekick Julius Randle. You got Isaiah Hartenstein. And you got Mitchell Robinson coming back. You went and got your defensive stopper and OG Anunoby. You got a nice bench in Quentin Grimes, Miles McBride, Josh Hart. And if you add a Mitchell Robinson to that, yeah. So let's just wait. Let them get healthy. Let's see what we got. And then in June, reevaluate. Until then, y'all enjoy this New York Knicks. This is a nice ride wheel. Here we are on a 48-win pace at 41 games. Y'all enjoy it. Tonight, they play the Washington Wizards. They got to beat Washington. They're going to be in the Garden. It's back-to-back, but it's a back-to-back at home, which means they played last night. They stay where they at. They get treatment right there, and they come ready to play tonight. And I think that's what you're going to see. They're going to come ready to play tonight. They're not going to be like wore down, backbreaker back-to-backs. Plus, the Knicks been through their backbreaker back-to-backs already. So we ready. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk about it tomorrow. In the meantime, shalom.